Alright, it is time to rank another soundtrack, and this time I'm going to be doing Tiny Toon Adventures on the NES. As always, I'm just doing the stage themes, so no boss battle, no ending, etc. There are 7 stage themes in the game to rank. Some of them are repeated a couple of times, some of them are only heard for one particular stage, and they're not assigned to a particular world necessarily, so I'm going to number them in chronological order based on when you hear them. So, for example, Song 1 is the first song that you hear in Stage 1-1. You also hear it in 1-2. 1-3 would be the first stage where you would hear a new song, so that's where Song 2 would come in, and so on and so forth, 1 through 7. And I will also annotate which stages each of the songs show up on. I'll preface this like I always do with the disclaimer that this list is just strictly my opinion. Doesn't mean anything, just my take. I respect everybody else's opinions, so if you want to criticize or debate, feel free to leave that in the comments. I encourage that sort of shit. So without any further ado, let's get on with the list. Number 7, Song 3. It's got some cool tones, but it doesn't really go anywhere. The intro has a cool little riff, but it only lasts one measure, and then that's it. Boom, gone. They really should have incorporated that kind of shit more into the song. But at least when the song loops back around, it does reuse the intro. Sometimes in these looped stage songs, you will start in a different section. We at least get the intro back. But yeah, it's just kind of dull. Number 6, Song 6. It has a pretty cool riff in the beginning, but then it just goes off the rails with a bunch of random notes that don't really go too well together. Sometimes off notes or unexpected notes do work, but I think this is a case of too many examples of it. There needed to be more space in the song. There's only one real breather throughout the whole thing, and that's right around when the loop comes back around to the beginning. It is played well, I'll give it that, but I just don't care for it. Number 5, Song 7. I really like the percussion. There are some nice drum fills, and there's all kinds of wacky, cartoony sound effects in the background that fill in the gaps. But the song itself is just plain underwritten. The intro is too long, or at least it just seems that way because the rest of the song is so short. The intro and verse both have 4 measures each that loop around. The song is in dire need of at least a refrain or a verse or something, so that you don't hear the build-up lasting just as long as the rest of it. It had potential. It definitely could have risen in the ranks if it had a little more substance. Number 4, Song 1. This is the theme from Tiny Toons. It's an okay song. It's never really been one of my favorites. I feel like I've heard it enough times in my life, and it doesn't help that it's played in half the fucking levels throughout the game. That being said, it has a nice variety of sections, and this is a pretty well arranged NES version with some cool little synth accents in the background behind a nice basic beat. Number 3, Song 2. This is the slow, creepy tune. It's got some great tones, and I love the rhythm section in the second half of the song. The bass is smooth, and the drums come in with a neat little fill as the loop turns. There's a particular part toward the end of one of the verses that has some really nice reverb. While the song stays in a consistent groove all throughout, there's a pretty good variety of riffs and little nuances with the sounds. Number 2, Song 4. This one's got a lot of energy behind it. There's not an empty spot in the whole song either. There's always something being played or a whistle in the background for some reason. And I love this one snare hit right at the end of the loop. It doesn't sound like any of the other drums in the entire song. In that same section, there's a nice subtle solo in the background too. My only complaint really is that the loop is short. It kind of comes and goes, but what's there is pretty damn cool. And number 1, Song 5. I love the rhythm section in this song. It's such a cool groove. That bass just sounds so good. And the lead riffs are no slouches either. It's layered nicely with a background synth that gives it some accents. The end of the loop has a pretty cool sequence too that transitions perfectly back to the beginning. There's some light reverb on the lead. It's just enough to give it a unique sound. And really, it's just a well-produced track from front to back. All of the different sounds just sound great together. So that's it for this list. Here's a quick recap. Number 7, song 3. Number 6, song 6. Number 5, song 7. Number 4, song 1. Number 3, song 2. Number 2, song 4. And number 1, song 5. So, what did you think of the list? What do you agree with, disagree with? Feel free to leave your opinions and thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.